At Kroger, we believe local produce shouldn't be hard to find. That's why we work with local farms right in our own backyard to bring the fresh produce you love to our stores. From homegrown watermelon that makes your mouth water to crisp corn picked right around the corner. Come pick out some yourself, because shopping for local produce should be as easy as shopping at your local Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but you're singing? Maybe keep that to yourself.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Saturday the 20th of August 2022. This is episode 223, discussing our stress relief tips behind the curtain, off the air, as I was telling you about my stomach ulcer problems and you're telling me about your hangover. Happy days on the Super J-Cast.
We're a bunch of old men, a bunch of old crabby men just trying to get through life. Yeah, little. I had a couple of adult beverages last night. Boy, am I hungover today? And I told Joel when we were scheduling to do this show, a very important show, by the way. We were trying to get my schedule and his schedule to align, and
what a fucking nightmare that was! It's like trying to get the planets to align. Jesus Christ!
It really was. It really was. It was terrible. I was like, but one of the provisions, I said, I can't do this day because I'm going to have people over and I might, go out, whatever. And then we can't do Saturday morning. No, I'll be fucking hungover. But then Joel, in great flexibility, made it later. So I turned out all right. Didn't have to wake up the crack of dawn.
Oh, it's good. Esther went to sleep about half an hour ago, so hopefully it'll work out perfectly. Until Arthur starts hammering on the door and doing a run-in, we'll be all right. But, yeah, there you go. I was all refreshed. This is a good time for me. This is 9 o'clock on a Saturday evening. Looking forward to watching the Arsenal game later. What I was going to say, I was going to say I'm relaxed and refreshed because I went for a Thai massage last night. Have you ever had a Thai massage, like one of the deep tissue ones?
Yeah, when I was in Bali.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I do. I try and get them from time to time. It's not. I mean, it's basically like doing 2 hours with Zack Sabre Jr. You got like a sort of middle-aged Thai woman grinding her elbows and knees into your flesh for an hour and a bit. And I was sort of lying there trying to sort of not tap, basically. And then she's asking me in Thai, like, "Oh, do you have mine? Like, does that hurt?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." But usually, that's fine. That's part of the experience, and I usually feel great afterwards. But when I went for mine last night, and this is a story I still haven't decided whether or not I was going to tell it, but I suppose I've started now.
You're telling it now.
I've got to continue.
You're fucking telling it.
An embarrassing incident with me losing control of my bodily fluids during this match.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I made quite the mess.
At the Thai massage place,
right? So. During about halfway through the massage, this lady tells me to turn over, so I'm face down, right? And I have a dust allergy. So when my face was like basically close to the floor at this point in the massage, then the dust starts going up my nose, and I sneezed a couple of times. And I was like, okay, well, this is not a big deal. I sneezed, it's fine. But then I realised over the next couple of minutes that there was snot dripping out my nose and my face was inches away from this sort of growing puddle of mucus on the mattress underneath me. And I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? So I didn't want to say, excuse me, I've snotted all over the bed here. Can I go and get some tissues? I did want to say, I didn't want to stop the battle and say, have you got any tissues? Because that would sound like I've done a cum in my pants, which I hadn't. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? I was like, my mind was racing, and now this is what was supposed to be a relaxing experience has turned into one of the most stressful experiences. So I was thinking, can I sort of lean over, grab my trousers, maybe try and mop up my snot with my trousers? Should I sort of stop and say I need to go to the toilet and try and get some tissue and come back? And so I was just trying to rack through all these wild scenarios in my head of how I'm going to clean up the mess without her noticing. And then I couldn't decide. I couldn't think of a plan. And then she said, okay, turn over and I'll massage your head. And so I jumped on that opportunity, just flipped over and sat right in my puddle of snot and sort of shuffled my bum around to try and mop up the snot with my bum. Which I thought was a good outcome. I took that as a win.
Right? And did it work?
I think so. I mean, she didn't say anything. To be fair, if she had noticed it, would she have said anything? I don't know, but it was better than my other planned ideas of picking up the snot in my hands.
You're completely naked, right?
No. We're in pajamas. They give you a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they give you a little shirt and trousers to put on.
Oh my god!
So yeah,
awesome.
there was probably a big sticky patch of snot on the backside of those pajamas. I don't know what they were
definitely
thinking.
thinks. Yeah, no, you know what they think. Yeah. This fucking guy came on our table. That's what they're thinking. The conversation was that motherfucker.
Well, at least they wouldn't be worried about COVID then. If it's snot, they'd probably think, oh God, I'm going to have to go get a test.
No, we just have some British guy's jizz all over us.
Yeah, it's a lot safer.
Sir. What's that?
It's much safer that way. Jizz is safer than snot in the year of our Lord 2022. You can quote that.
We'll make a t-shirt. Yeah. Come on. Wow. What a fucking time you had. Jesus. I just got... I did not have an experience like that. Thank God. Although I did have a massage and it was the most horrible experience of my life. I told you the Bali story, right? The massage story.
If you have, I can't remember it. Can you refresh my memory?
They gave me these super tiny boxer briefs.
Oh yeah.
They showered me, and I got a boner while she was on her hands and knees right by my cock.
Well, what do they expect?
I know, and I just shrugged my shoulders. I was like, right. I literally shrugged my shoulders and was like, "Huh, I'm sorry." And then they ran a bath for me. And then I went into the bath and all the water spilled over the side. And so I had to. So now I'm like almost there's just water everywhere. And so I grabbed towels.
You're sitting there with a boner.
So I'm sopping up this water with all the towels, and she comes in, and I'm naked. She comes in, and I'm sitting there. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I got water everywhere. I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do." She goes, "Get back in the tub." In her broken English. Oh,
nice.
Yeah, it was the worst experience.
Massage, yes, everyone go and get nice.
It's the worst. I'm never comfortable doing it. I always feel just like a big tub of shit that these people have to rub their hands on. Like, they don't want to fucking touch me. And so, yeah, I do. It is an anxiety-filled time. Like, I don't relax in massages. Because I just feel very... You know what I'm always afraid of, though? I'm always afraid of the fucking... Well, yes. No, ripping a fart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's on your back, and she's just like, and then... You know what I mean?
That's to be expected. That must happen all the time.
It must, but I don't want it to happen to me.
I mean, if you're making like a hierarchy of undesirable incidents for the masseuses, I don't know, where would you rank fart, snot, and cum and bonus? And are there any others that we've missed? Shitting your pants?
Shit your pants. Yeah, that would be terrible. Or yeah, you go in and you have just your stomach starts growling. You're like, oh no, this is not good. this is not good. And then she's keep pushing on it, and then yeah, that'd be fucking awesome. Ugh, I feel so bad for anyone that has to do that. Like that work, because here's the problem. I would say the majority of the time, they're not like getting a hot guy or a hot girl. They're getting fucking me.
Scum like us.
Right. Just fucking ugh. I'm sure they question, like, what the fuck am I going to massage on this guy? He has no muscle tone. There is zero muscle tone on this guy. Like, what am I rubbing? And I'm like, I roll over.
Oil me up, baby. So welcome to the Super J Cast, everyone. New Japan Pro Wrestling Podcast. Now from our sponsors, HelloFresh, after the bonus not massage talk.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I miss this. I miss this a lot when you were away. I'm not going to talk about fucking, this kind of shit to Hanare, am I? Or Robbie Eagle, right? That's not going to happen. Or maybe I could have. I should have. I should have asked Hanare, have you had any awkward massages?
We've had a few questions about it. Well, I don't know if it is Hanare or not. So, Spannerhead says, would you like to see the Japanese return to their World War II masculinity era, or do you prefer Catboys? Can you or Damon go 6 years without coming? Have you, by any chance, looked at the Primal Bro Instagram page, or Twitter page for that matter?
Is that the guy with all the muscles and he eats liver?
No, it's not.
No.
I'm looking at So the Primal Bro is primal advice for modern men to reclaim their masculinity. I'm assuming you haven't looked at this then?
No.
Okay, don't. Let's move on. Let's continue with the podcast.
Oh, really? Why? What is it? You know what? Don't tell me.
No.
Don't tell me.
No, I don't.
Okay.
You look at it in your own time, and then we can have a conversation off the air about that. But if you know, you know.
All right. I don't know. So just send me the link. I'll look at it.
Okay, I'm not going to do it now because
no.
We need to hear from our friends over at HelloFresh. I mean, what a couple of segues we've got there. Let's get it out of the way before I forget. But I mean, there was quite a good one on the Voices of Wrestling flagship where they're talking about. I think the segue was something along the lines of, well, HelloFresh have never made me shit my pants before. Take it away. So we've come close to that, but here we go.
Here we go. Hey, everyone. HelloFresh, right? They're our friends. They're our partners. And we love them. Why? Well, with HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You can skip the trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why, as it says here on this piece of papa, it's not really paper, it's on my phone. It's America's #1 meal kit. That's what they're telling me. HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned, I can't say pre-portioned today, pre-portioned ingredients to your door. Once again, I'll say including farm fresh produce that arrives within a week. So you get convenience without skimping on quality. Skip the trip to the grocery store, saving you wait in long lines. Nobody likes a long line. Queuing up. No one likes that. Ensuring you don't waste money on excessive or excess food. Now, my second point that I want to make clear to you is that HelloFresh cuts back on time spent in the kitchen.
Can I just interrupt, Damon? I'm really enjoying the intonation and the enunciation of this ad read. You're doing a really fantastic job. Sorry, continue.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. As I was saying about the kitchen with meals ready in around 30 minutes or less, plus quick and easy meals, including 20-minute recipes. Look, low prep, easy cleanup. Come on. You know you want to do it. Look, here's what I want you to do. Go to HelloFresh.com/VOW16. You're going to use that code, what? VOW16. Of course, for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts, right? So once again, HelloFresh.com/VOW16. Use VOW16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. I don't know what else we can do to convince you to sign up with HelloFresh. Fresh farm fresh ingredients. Save money, save time. You don't have to worry about what's for dinner. Ugh, that fucking question. Guess what? HelloFresh.com is your answer. Comes right to your goddamn door. I mean, I don't know, you lazy bums. Right to your door. And then you're cooking away. I love it. I use it. It's good. Once again, HelloFresh.com/VOW16. Use the code VOW16. Get your free stuff. Get your up to 16 free meals. You can't beat it. HelloFresh.
All right, let's move on to the news for the week, Damon. And the big takeaway from the G1 Climax final in terms of news is that Wrestle Kingdom is going back to a one-night event. So we're getting Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome, January 4th, New Year Dash, January Fish, January Fish? From the Tsukiji Fish Market. New Year Dash. Sponsored by Tuna. January the 5th. How are we feeling about this? The double dome gold dash is dead.
Good. I think one of them was fine. When they went again, it was like you feel just like they're just trying to squeeze shit on a fucking show at that point. I like one show. It makes that show important. I think that's the best thing they could have done. Perfect, smart move.
I agree. I enjoyed it for Wrestle Kingdom 14, even though it was a little bit forced. Wrestle Kingdom 15, the JY Ibushi Naito thing made zero sense. Like, they jumped the shark already after a year. And actually, I thought it sort of made the most kayfabe sense last year with the whole Ospreay, Shingo, Okada thing. Then, because Ospreay never lost the title, it actually made sense then. But by that point, it just felt a bit watered down. I'd rather have one night where, these are the best matches, best feuds. And, if you don't make the cards, tough shit. Do better next year, Have better matches. Get yourself more over so you can't be left out of that. So, yeah, very excited to see Wrestle Kingdom going back to one night. Also, we have an announcement for Royal Quest 2. We have a pair of shows coming up in the United Kingdom, which will be taking place October the 1st and October 2nd at the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre. So, first of all, I think Editor Dan is owed some free tickets for this one after the verbal assault he got at the previous Royal Quest show. So, if anyone from New Japan is listening, get in touch. We need to get Editor Dan Con with some tickets.
Yes, he was assaulted, almost assaulted. He was verbally assaulted.
Emotionally assaulted.
And, yes. So, yes, I feel it. Well, Kevin Kelly says he's going to buy him a beer. I believe that was the deal.
He'd settle for that. He'd settle for that.
I know he would. We'll take care of Dan. I'll or you or whatever. We'll figure out something. We'll get somebody to give him the hookup. He deserves it.
Absolutely. Chris says, please speculate wildly on Royal Quest 2. I suppose it's hard to pick, really. I mean, what would be a suitable main event for this? Are we thinking IWGP title match? Are we thinking like a briefcase defense, if we're even doing that this year? What sort of level of match are you hoping for here?
It would be nice to have a heavyweight title defense. I think it'll be
Jay
stacked.
White versus Zack or something like that. That would be fun.
That's what That's kind of like what I'm leaning for, or even like Will versus Zack. To defend the U.S. title on UK soil. But yeah, I think that's the kind of level you'll get. And you might get like a multi-man tag. I don't know. I'm just throwing a name out there, but you could have some Bullet Club involvement there, and against like Naito, because he's obviously not doing anything anymore for this company.
Yeah, he's not going to be worming his way into Wrestle Kingdom. Well, actually, having said that, you never know. Never put it past him. But
It's got to be, right? That's the only thing I'm worried about when it comes to that Wrestle Kingdom is
We'll save that. We'll come on to that.
Yeah. Okay.
We got actually
yes,
quite a few. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's going to be a good show. I think because here's the thing too. It's been a long time since they've rock and rolled, and this is kind of a makeup show because of the pandemic causing troubles. So yeah, I think they'll put their best foot forward for this.
We have a few questions about this. Some people questioning the ambition here. So Rob says, is Royal Quest 2 a downgrade from 2019? Smaller venue, 2 nights, only with 6-week notice, 5 weeks after a Rev Pro weekender, only a month of ticket sales compared to 5 months in 2019. Feels more like a US event. Fair assessment. And Antonio says, why New Japan are booking small buildings like the Crystal Palace Arena, the Palladium in New York City, or Odeum Expo Center, not big or reasonable buildings like MSG, Now Arena, Wembley Arena, or Stamford Bridge, or hell, even Copper Box, rather, or reasonable arena in the regard, unlike the Harold May, where bigger buildings. That's my first question. Second question, more of a question to you, Joel, with which with end of NXT UK, do you see New Japan going like they did in US? Do New Japan of UK, do you think that'll be likely given the end of NXT UK? And what's your thoughts on NXT Europe and how much that will affect New Japan and other promotions around Europe? Personally, don't think it affects anything because wrestling here in Europe is non-existent apart from the UK. Yes, I'm including Ireland in this category too and Germany, but what's your guys' thoughts, especially you, Joel, since we're both European? Now, I think there'll be some talent who will be free now with the death of NXT UK. That I think companies like Rev Pro will be looking to hoover up. And if they are signed up by Rev Pro or work Rev Pro dates and do well, then with Rev Pro and New Japan working together, then certainly New Japan will be taking a look as well. So with Rev Pro sort of being an unofficial sort of feeder promotion for New Japan, I think that's, I'm not saying this suddenly we're going to be flooded with a load of new talent, but it's certainly more healthy than it was before with all these guys sitting on NXT UK contracts with their thumb up their asses doing nothing. So I would say that's encouraging. In terms of the size of these arenas, I mean, New Japan's not as hot as it was back then. We've talked about this before. AEW have eaten up their market share in the West, and if they ran bigger buildings, I don't think they'd sell the tickets.
Yeah, I don't know. You might have a better gauge of what kind of building size that is, but yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, we can't try to make up excuses. That's it. It's just they wouldn't be able to sell tickets at a enough pace to make the rent, and that's really it. But again, I do understand the fact that nothing's announced. They really do that a lot. they at least recently, like it just feels like, wow, we're a couple of weeks away and there really is, there's no lineup. But again, I can't imagine it being, you're not just going to get watered down talent. You're going to get good stuff. And the UK stuff, I mean, a lot of those guys, that were released, they're, mainstays in that British scene. And they were in Rev Pro before the whole UK thing. So I think they'll be welcomed back with open arms. Get to see that Flash Morgan Webster again, hopefully, right? I liked him. But yes, it's going to help British indies for sure.
All right, let's move on to the finals then of the Grade 1 Climax 32, which culminated with a triple header at the Nippon Budokan. The attendance for these three shows, we had 3,227 for night 17, 3,179 for night 18, and 6,716 for the finals. So I think that finals night was healthier. I mean, the first two are pretty rubbish, to be honest, but they just missed out on their target. I think they were hoping to do 50K tickets altogether and just missed that by, it was like a couple thousand or something. So Multiverse Ace asks, Ospreay said he wants to get New Japan out of the dark times. With attendance being down a bit, what do you think New Japan needs to do to gain a larger foothold in Japan and abroad? The Okada pan-out shots highlighted a lot of empty or tarped off seats in Budokan. So your thoughts on the attendance? Is this a big problem for New Japan?
Yes, I think it is. I do. This is a flagship event. This is an important part of New Japan's calendar, and to have disappointing numbers like that, I mean, it's telling. I think some of it had to do with the way that the G1 was laid out this year with the it felt like it had trouble gaining momentum, so maybe fans fell off. I don't know, but again, to me, it's a little bit different than, say, like I don't know, like a junior tag league show in Corkin, that struggles. This is a little bit different. Again, this is one of their flagship events, and there should be people lining around the block. So yeah, I got to be honest, it is a little concerning to me.
So the main event, of course, was the G1 Climax 32 final match, where the winner of the A block, Kazuchika Okada, defeated the winner of the D block, Will Ospreay, 33 minutes, 53 seconds with a Rainmaker to win G1 Climax 32. What did you think of the match, Damon?
Outstanding. I thought it was fantastic. Favorite match of the tournament. Will Ospreay had a hell of a tournament. Let's be real. He had a really solid tournament. Trust me, the matches I'm going to remember most are obviously the finals. I think the Okada Jonah match I'll remember, and ELP and Will, and even Shingo will. Like, Nate, who had a better tournament than him?
Yeah, I mean, there's a wider question to be had of New Japan Wrestler of the Year and even Global Wrestler of the Year as it is. And yeah, he certainly staked his claim there with just an outstanding match. I mean, the work was technically flawless. It was just incredible, breakneck speed once they sort of cracked into the latter half of it. The storytelling of the match was obviously, it wasn't subtle, right? Let's put it that way, with Ospreay sort of cycling through all the moves of various Bullet Club leaders in the past, people that he knows has beaten Okada, trying to find a move that could put him away.
Right.
So it was very different to their Tokyo Dome match, which just felt like sort of two prize fighters going at it to see who's going to win the big belt. But this one was sort of more storyline based and maybe like a touch gimmicky, but it felt like the sort of thing that kayfabe Will Ospreay would actually do in the course of a wrestling match. So I know a lot of people were sort of thinking that, this is a bit cheesy, but I quite liked it.
I loved it.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the story of that. And I said on Twitter, it was like a Marvel movie. So, there was no subtlety to it. And it's very different to the sort of storytelling and psychology you get, for example, in the Okada Naito series. This was sort of, banging you over the head with it. Look, Ospreay's trying all the different finishing moves from these guys who've beaten Okada. But I felt that worked. I thought there was a lot of drama in it, and I thought it's, another chapter in the story of Okada and Ospreay, which is ongoing. I mean, I remember writing a Secret Santa. Someone gave me a Secret Santa match. This would have been in 2018 with the first Ospreay Okada match, the Rev Pro one. And then, so they had that one, and then there was the anniversary match that they had in...
I think so, right? Yeah.
2019 maybe, or maybe that was in 2018 as well. And I was thinking, Ospreay's going to win the third one. We are in 2022, still waiting for him to win one cleanly, because of course the one that he won in the G1 with the Great Khan re-debut and interference, that one doesn't count. So we've got this story going on with Ospreay trying to get a clean win over Okada, this guy who was his mentor, like his older brother, and he's trying to prove himself. And I find that really interesting one, and I think sort of New Japan was maybe sort of running low on those sorts of long-term stories. So this is one that I'm invested in now, and it's quite interesting to see where that feud's going to end up. What will be a suitable payoff for that? Is it going to be not this Wrestle Kingdom, maybe the Wrestle Kingdom after that? I think Ospreay needs to get the big Tokyo Dome IWGP World Heavyweight title win over Okada So I think that's the direction we're going. I don't know when we're going to get it because, as it is with these New Japan long-term stories, they always hold off about 2 years later than you think they should.
Right.
So you think, this is the perfect moment for them to pay off this story, and then just make you wait and wait and wait. But, I mean, that's obviously the direction we're going. We're going to get there at some point. It may not be when we expect it to be, but we'll get there somewhere. But, yeah, I mean, you said it in terms of him being one of the best performers at this tournament. And his resume for this year. You remember my bit I did back in 2019 when I was reading off his
Yes.
scores on Cage Match.
Yes,
and I got ridiculed for that. And now everyone's doing it, Damon.
Is that right?
There's all other, Rich is doing it from Voice of Wrestling. And here's the thing with Ospreay: you don't have to like him. There's plenty of people, most of them on our Discord, who are not keen on Ospreay, and they don't, maybe they don't like the style, maybe they don't like him personally. That's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say you have to like his matches and you're an idiot if you don't appreciate them. I understand, art is subjective and people are going to have different tastes, but from the sort of the casual fan or the neutral fan, in terms of sort of the popular opinion, he's got to be one of the front runners for rest of the year. Not just New Japan rest of the year, but overall rest of the year. Just his body of work in New Japan and in other companies in the UK, in the US. He is just absolutely killing it. He is on fire at the moment. And not just the quality of matches, but the sheer quantity of them. He's doing this back-to-back with Naito and Okada, and then he's getting on a plane. He's going to do Rev Pro, and then he's off to Dynamite. He's going to be doing this Trios tournament. Just the sheer output is breathtaking. Like, when do you ever see Will Ospreay phone it in for a match? You never see T-shirt Will, do you? No. Every time he goes out, no matter who he's against, he's trying to make his opponents look like a star, and he is laying it in. I mean, this might be controversial. I think he is one of, maybe the best striker in New Japan at the moment. Just the way he lays in the elbows and the strikes and the kicks. Every single one sounds like his opponent's being cracked in the head with a baseball bat. And his promos are getting better as well. Like, there was a really heartfelt one after the Naito match and before the Okada match, and then after the Okada match as well. He was really selling how heartbreaking that defeat was, and it was more subtle than he usually does. It wasn't the usual him screaming his head off with his foul-mouthed Essex tirades like he usually does. There was some layers to it and a bit of depth, and sort of he was going into different gears and tapping into different emotions within the Will Ospreay character. And again, people they hand wave his promos and they think they're shit. I thought these were really good, and I think he's the total package right now. Honestly, it's probably between him and Mox for the rest of the year. In terms of New Japan rest of the year, I mean, Okada was my rest of the year up until this point, but I think Ospreay might have just picked into that, and he's just starting to put everything together here, isn't he?
He is, and when you think back to Best of the Super Juniors and that highly controversial spot with Ricochet and everyone fucking losing their marbles over it, and to where he is now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's night and day because he was very good then, but he does feel more and more complete. And you are right. Like, what you're not seeing T-shirt Will, right? I mean, never. Like he never phones it in. And that might be, a detriment considering there's only so much the body can take.
And I said, all the fans who do hate him and give him a load of stick, he is out there doing that for you. He's doing that for the fans to put on a great show for you. And again, I'm not saying you have to like him, but just at least acknowledge the effort that he puts in.
Yeah, I don't see how you can't. Truthfully, and if you're honest with yourself, I don't see how you can. He's in his 20s. Think about that. And the idea of we now have a feud and a storyline and a continuation of a storyline that when Tanahashi and Okada rode off into the sunset, that feud, that made New Japan as popular as it's ever been. Now we have like something that's in that ballpark, right? A young guy, in his 20s. Okada, was he like very early 30s? Just turned 30? Am I off of that? Low 30s, right?
Who, Okada or Will?
Okada.
Yeah, I think he's maybe 31 or 32.
Okay. Watch me look it up. He's 57. What?
Oh no, he's 34.
34. Okay, there you go.
See, the problem is because of the pandemic and the clap crowds, my brain has just frozen everybody's age from January 2020.
Yeah, seriously. So it's good. I mean, look, he was my MVP of G1, and G1 is a litmus test to where you're going to land in year-end Wrestler of the Year polls. It really is. That's why it's silly to talk about Wrestler of the Year until G1. It just is, because guys just rise above. I think Will was outstanding, and I think Will, if everyone's being honest, I think Will's got to be at least in consideration. You have to sit and think and be like, okay, his body of work, his improvements in the ring. I'm telling you flat out, Empire's my favorite faction. I think they're look. He's winning. He is winning. In pro wrestling right now, he is winning.
And it says a lot, Damon. He lost this match. He lost this tournament final, but he's the big talking point. He's gained so much from it. Arguably as much as if he'd actually won the damn thing. And the narrative of the Ospreay critics has shifted. Before it was like, oh, he can't sell, or he's spamming moves. Now there seems to be, and again, I'm just going by my Discord, but sort of a grudging respect for the fact, okay, that was a really good match. He is a really good wrestler, but I just, he doesn't click with me, or I don't like him. So I think that speaks volumes as to how much he's improved. And I say improved. I mean, I thought he was fucking brilliant in 2019. Right. And now we're in 2022, and he still seems to be getting better. So, I mean, you spoke to it, this United Empire popularity, and Ospreay himself have undergone this gradual face turn, judging by the promos. He's not doing really anything heelish in the matches. There's no interference. And they're sort of the tweener faction now, as LIJ sort of shifted into in 2017. And, after the match with Great Khan looking all disappointed, and Ospreay's tweeting out that he feels terrible that he's let them all down. He is so popular with the Japanese fans. Like, I know this is clap crowds, but the Budokan crowd were audibly reacting to, it seemed like, every single move Ospreay launched. And, our man on the ground says that he felt it was about 75% of the crowd in favour of Ospreay. A lot of United Empire merchandise, a lot of United Empire T-shirts around. So Sue Coatman says, thoughts on where Ospreay is headed in New Japan. Like, do you think he could be or will be the guy in future? I mean, I suppose I'm looking at Jay White as the anointed Western superstar of New Japan, because he's the guy that was groomed and brought through their dojo, and they've been sort of handcrafting his trajectory. But Ospreay is looking like he could be a serious player in this company,
no doubt. And we've been saying it for years, how high New Japan is on Will Ospreay. To me, Will Ospreay slides right into that Kota Ibushi spot. Like, at one point he was on that fucking mountain. That's Will's spot now. Like, that's the role he is playing right now. So yes, he is going to be a title holder and a big boy belt holder, and in a big feud with arguably the most important New Japan Pro wrestler. Yeah, there's going to be plenty of spotlight. Here's the thing. He's only gotten better the brighter the spotlight. Like, the more that they put on his shoulders, he still hits home runs consistently. I'm going to be truthful. And I might be just, goofy pro wrestling fan 101 here. I loved the idea of him panicking and saying, okay, I'm going to hit you with finishers that I know have beaten you in the past. Loved it. I love the idea of it. I love the concept of it. I thought that was fantastic. That was a highlight of the tournament for me. I thought it was fantastic. I love those little nuggets and those little things, and I thought that was great. Come on.
Yeah, and something we haven't actually discussed is the fact that he went for the one-winged angel, Kenny Omega's finisher, and didn't work, got countered, arguably end up costing him the match. So that seems like a surefire match down the line. I mean, surely we're going to get Ospreay versus Omega at some point. I don't know if that's going to be in Japan. I don't know if that's going to be in the States. But it's happening, isn't it?
Right. And here's the thing I like, too. So he hits these moves. Hits a high fly flow. Okada kicks out. What's the aging?
Styles Clash.
Styles Clash kicks out. Why? Because it's not his move. Right? It's not his. He doesn't know how to do it right or whatever. He can't master somebody else's finishing move. Love it. Fucking love it. Come on. Get on board with this. This is good fucking shit.
School is back, and so is the JCPenney Mystery Sale. How much will you save? Hurry in store for a coupon giveaway while they last. You could peel and reveal an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off store-wide. Sale ends Sunday. Extended store hours Friday and Saturday. Shopping is back, and the savings are too. JCPenney. Coupon valid on select styles through 8/7. Exclusions apply. Giveaway in-store only. Must be 18 years or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Do it! Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but you're singing?
Yeah.
Maybe keep that to yourself.
Yes, I agree. I don't know what else to say. No, it was good. It's very entertaining, and again, I can see why some people might think it was a bit cheesy, but it worked for me. I thought it was really, really good. It's very entertaining. Just a brilliant match all round. So he's got some stuff coming up very soon in Dynamite. Commando Ray says, when will the United Empire finally get a push? Also, do Ospreay and Aussie Open have any chance to win the AEW Trios title? I guess what everyone's going to be looking at in these brackets is, are we going to get Ospreay and Kenny Omega in the ring together, which could happen if, I can't remember, I think it might be Death Triangle that Ospreay and Aussie Open are facing next. And I think they're probably going to lose that. But if they do win, which is possible, then yeah, we're looking at the Ospreay and Omega sharing the ring together. So, whilst I do think Ospreay Okada is the long-term goal, I think Ospreay versus Omega is something that we'll be seeing, I don't know, within the next 12 months. Do you think we're going to see that as a singles match?
I would love it. I'm not going to lie. I would love it. They talk about how they wanted Forbidden Door to be an annual thing. But why not a semi-annual thing? I think they would be. That's one match that I really feel like they would be absolutely dumb to leave on the table. Like they would just that. Joel, they announced that match. I don't care where it is. Name the fucking arena. It'll sell out, right?
Yeah. I'm confident that it will.
Yeah. I think to me, that match is probably one of the most marquee matchups that you could have when we're talking about the cross promotion with AEW. Like that, to me, that Omega Ospreay, that is top of the tier. And I was super excited for Punk Tanahashi. I think. Let me ask you this, and your mind can go wild with it. Do you think that Will, and it's hard to say, but I get it. Do you think Will and Kenny has the possibility of being just as good or better than Kenny Omega? Kenny Okada. Man, we are fucking loopy today. Like we're both drunk.
It's the kind of match that I think could break Dave Meltzer's scale again. Like, would it stun you if he went 7.5 stars on that? Because it would, because this is everything that he likes. And of course, that's just his view of what he enjoys in pro wrestling. But I could certainly see that being something that really plays into what the casual Western wrestling fan, or the hardcore wrestling Western fan for that matter, enjoys. That sort of modern US style, 100 miles an hour, flashy moves, big overprone storytelling, drama. And yeah, why not? I mean, there is no ceiling on a match like that. No. I think they're just okay. You want a spicy question? You want to piss some people off, Damon?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me ask you this: is Will Ospreay now better than Kenny Omega is/was? I'm going to say this already. I think Ospreay's a better promo than him.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Kenny's promos, to be honest with you. I think they're, I don't know, kind of corny, but okay. Let's put it this way. There's enough body of work and enough data to have that conversation. Like that's not a preposterous question that you asked. For my money, I like Will a little bit more. And I think Will is a little bit better right now. If you asked me that question maybe 4 years ago, I probably would have gone the other way. I would have gone with Kenny. Boy, but you know what though? Let's be honest. Kenny is
so Ospreay now, 2022 Ospreay against prime Kenny Omega. Like I don't know
prime
what
Kenny Omega.
2017. 2017, 2018 Kenny.
Wow. Fuck. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to puss out here. If I had to pick one right now, this is tough. That's tough. I would go Kenny Omega. Because here's the thing. Still to this day, Kenny and Okada is my favorite match of all time. And I think there's...
Yes, I think Ospreay, he's lacking that signature match / series.
Yes.
That will unify the fandom and say, this is one of the best matches / series ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's still... He needs that... I mean, and this match, these matches that they've had have been incredible. I just don't know if they've been elevated, and that might be COVID, that might be clap crowd, that might be whatever. Like if you put these matches in front of rabid fans, boy, that's a conversation. Kenny and Okada hour is my favorite match of all time. So yeah, I think it's all that Will needs, honestly. Both are incredible. Like that's a very tough decision. What do you say?
I think in terms of ability, like, if we're doing, like sort of a video game where you're getting all the attributes and giving them a score out of 99 or whatever, I think Ospreay is better. But in terms of all the other intangibles and things like, star power and drawing and
influence,
historic matches and influence, Kenny is ahead. But there is time for that to change.
Yeah. And that's not, I mean, I trust me, this is not a knock on Kenny Omega at all. But But yeah, I mean, listen, this is a good conversation to have. Like, we're living in a time that we can have this conversation. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think that.
And I think Kenny knows that these conversations are happening. And what an interesting factor that's going to play into when, hopefully they do eventually have this match.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But here's the thing: like they kind of go back and forth a little bit on the Twitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, the pair of them. I was going to say they've both got massive egos. I mean, Kenny's definitely.
Yes,
they probably do. And I think Kenny knows that he can probably see Ospreay coming for him. Whether that's kayfabe wise or whether that's this guy is coming after my spot as the best bout machine in real life or whatever. But I think I don't know. A lot of people are going to think, "Oh, for fuck's sake, this is the most tedious conversation."
I don't think
ever.
it is.
But I find it really interesting.
Me too. I think it's this. These are the kind of conversations that I enjoy more than this match. You know what I mean? Like, the idea and the concept of, we have two absolutely outstanding pro wrestlers. Which one's better? That's like in sports. It's like, who's better, Jordan or Kobe, or Jordan and LeBron, or Gretzky and Lemieux, or these are the conversations that, I don't know, give me a boner. Sorry, I love them.
So the backstage afterwards, Ospreay, I mentioned it, the promo was really, really good. He was just devastating. And David Finlay came in. Definitely worth checking out. If you haven't seen it already, Finlay came and challenged him for the US title. And Ospreay was trying to push him away, saying, "Oh, let me have a minute." And Finlay's grabbed him by the throat. It was really good stuff. So Finlay will be his next challenger, a match that I'm looking forward to. I thought the match that they had in the D block was very, very good. And yeah, this one should be even better. Now, we've spoken a lot about Ospreay. We've barely talked about the winner of the G1 Climax itself, Kazuchika Okada. So In Ring Art says, am I crazy for having a tiny part of me with the LOL Okada wins vibe? June says, I'm biased because Okada's my favourite wrestler, but I don't understand people being upset about him winning the G1. He's the face of the company and they're positioning him as this generation's Antonio Inoki, and he's also one of the best in the world. So in my mind, it makes sense. Now, I do sort of get the feeling, this is not something I can quantify, but that the Japanese fans might be getting a bit bored of Okada, just maybe based on the reactions during the final and when the match actually ended. It feels like it's sort of cyclical with Okada. He goes through and he reaches these peaks where he seems like this sort of unbeatable sort of god, and then people are thinking, I want something different now. And then he has a little slump, and then when he's away for a while, people get more into him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I do feel that Okada is more interesting as a foil to other wrestlers and their long-term storylines than anything actually interesting happening with the character of Okada himself. Just, as we've spoken about with Ospreay as this sort of long-term rival for him. I think the Jay White storyline is an interesting one because we've got this tale basically that in terms of Wrestle Kingdoms, Jay cannot get the job done at Wrestle Kingdom when the title's on the line. He can win in those matches where there's nothing on the line, like the Okada singles match at Wrestle Kingdom 13, the Ibushi sort of loser versus loser match on the final night of Wrestle Kingdom 14. But when it comes to big title matches like Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 12, or the Naito Intercontinental match at Wrestle Kingdom 14, the Ibushi match at Wrestle Kingdom 15, Jay White, he chokes basically in the spotlights at the Tokyo Dome when there's a title on the line. So, and again, I think that is a storyline that will be using Kazuchika Okada as a foil. But in terms of Okada himself, like, when he won, were you like, oh god, like, can you see anything interesting that they could do with Okada between now and Wrestle Kingdom, or for the Wrestle Kingdom main event? Like, do you think it's going to be Okada Jay White again? Like, what's the best case scenario here?
It probably will be Jay and Okada. No, I wasn't upset that he won. And the crowd response, look, it was Will Ospreay in that spot, but I'm going to be honest, it could have been anybody in that spot. Like, if they could perform at that level in that spot, like, they're going to be rooting for the underdog, right? They want the and it's not a knock on Okada because that could be anybody in that spot, right? Whoever would be positioned in that spot. Like they're rooting for the underdog, it felt like, to me anyway. So no, I don't know if it was like people are sick of Okada. I look, every promotion has a star, and that's their top guy. And I hate to say it, but if like, how do you get through pro wrestling? Like, you can't constantly have fresh faces, and especially with a talent like him. Like, we talk about Will, not for nothing. Okada is the best wrestler. Let's put it this way: Okada is one of the best wrestlers of our generation, and I would easily put him in top 5, right? Maybe even top 3. Like that's a guy who's going to win your G1, And you're right. I think okay, it was great. Good.
Well, we're sort of transitioning over from different generations here. I feel like the era of the top guys being Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, Ibushi, Omega, that's past, and now we're sort of moving into the era where it's still Okada, but now we've got guys like Ospreay and Jay White, and I think we're waiting for some new names to get added to that mix. And maybe it's the guys going to come back from excursion. The likes of Shota Umino, who knows? But the fact that Okada is the mainstay of that old era and this new era, I think that sort of transition is where things feel a little bit odd, because he doesn't seem to have that big rival to put him on the back foot and keep him interesting as, the guy who's got a chase or the guy who's under threat.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too, though. It's not like he's winning everything all the time. Like we got a world champion. That's Jay White. Yes, Okada, won back-to-back G1s, but okay, that's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't bother me. And it was a weird way that he won the previous one with Ibushi getting hurt. No, look, I'm looking forward to his match with Jonah. I'm looking forward to down the line with which I think we're all waiting for is Jay and Okada. And now we got Will in the mix. He's always been in the mix. I kind of like it. Like I do. And remember, it took Okada, there's that one fucking dome where everybody in that building thought Okada was walking away with that title, and he didn't. And he walked out in tears. Well, that's a story that they love to tell. So
the Kikuchi moments, as I like to
those
call
Kikuchi moments, correct.
So let 5 Groove 2 Knit 3 says, what do you think the possibilities are for Okada's G1 win if he's not going to wrestle the main event at Wrestle Kingdom? Do you think he'll use his victory to cash in a shot at the KOPW crown? I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think he said he was not going to defend the briefcase. I think that's what he was getting at. He feels like he is entitled to a nailed-on, ironclad title match at Wrestle Kingdom. I think that's where we're going for it. And again, just based on what I said before, if it is Okada Jay White, that is the story. The story is, can Jay White actually win a title match at Wrestle Kingdom? And I suspect he won't. I suspect we may be in for another Okada wins, because the bad guy doesn't usually win at the Wrestle Kingdom main event. And I think that could be the catalyst, to no pun intended, for Jay White to maybe go on that turn. So I think that's the direction we're heading. Sue Williams, Voice of Wrestling, Sue Williams says, we know Jay White is defending against Tama Tonga coming up. Do you guys have any ideas or guesses as to what the other big title matches will be this year? Not talking pastrami sandwich style ideas, just what you think may happen going into the fall. So, yeah, you mentioned, if we're looking briefcase defenses, Okada versus Jonah could be an interesting one. Jay White, yeah, sure, he'll defend against Tama Tonga. He hasn't lost to anyone else. He didn't lose to anyone else in the G1, in the block. So maybe, you cannot rule out Naito again worming his way into maybe getting Jay to put that on the line. I would say there's a non-zero chance of the Wrestle Kingdom main event turning into Okada Naito again. Although I've sort of talked myself into Okada Jay White being the more interesting match, actually, given the history that I've laid out with Jay White at the Tokyo Dome. Can you see any other defenses or possibilities for Jay White between now and January 4th?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably... No, I don't. I actually like all. No, my thought was all my possibilities would be post Wrestle Kingdom. You know, it's almost September. Just FYI. I mean, the Dome is going to be here before you know it. The Dome is going to be here before you fucking know it. So, and plus we have World Tag League. Yeah, I don't know where they would squeeze that in. Maybe a Rev Pro show. You know, maybe an AEW show, but I doubt it.
Yeah. And now sort of fleshing out this idea, Jay White loses at Wrestle Kingdom, and that can precipitate the Jay White Evil feud, which, you know, we've been waiting for years and years for. Maybe he gets booted out of Bullet Club. You know, you always bottle it in the big matches. You're not fit to be our leader. Blah 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 blah. But anyway, I'm veering dangerously into fantasy booking territory. Welky, speaking of the final night, says, "Where was the angle?" So yeah, you know, we are usually accustomed to getting a big dramatic angle out of nowhere on the G1 finals, but we didn't get one here. We got, you know, Tanahashi's going to be challenging Machine Gun Carl Anderson for that Never title. Kushida is going to challenge Ishimori for the junior title. I mean, Kushida, he feels very cold.
Oh my God, yes. He? Yep. I forgot he was even there. I swear, I forgot he was even there. Until he came out in that little 6-man. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, Kushida. Yeah.
He needs a fresh coat of paint, doesn't he?
I think. Look, I don't think that's off the table. I really don't. But yeah, they've done nothing with him. Like, it just feels like I don't know. I just don't. Like, I'm not amped up. I'm not as amped up as I would have been. Like, if you told me, okay, Kushida's coming in. Well, I mean, everybody knew. Let's put it that way. I was amped up, and I think the steam is let out of the bag. Is that what I want to say? It's not. It's very cold.
Yes, like a bag of microwave popcorn that's been left out for too long. Speaking of Carl Anderson, at Unknown Untold says, between openly stating that he half-asses it on Impact and not having the title belt at the G1 final, how strong is the case for Carl Anderson as the worst never openweight champion of all time? Harry says, have you seen the Reddit post suggesting Carl Anderson may have either lost the never openweight title or left it in America, since the one he was parading around was actually one of the 6-man belts? I find that extremely funny and extremely on brand for Carl Anderson. But yeah, I forgot about him. I forgot he was the never openweight champion, and I'm still scratching my head as to why that was the case. I don't see why you could not have done the Tama Tonga storyline and his push and elevation of the Jay White win with him being never openweight champion. I don't know why they took it off him, but
I don't know.
There you go, Carl Anderson.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I don't know where the benefit is in that one, but hopefully it's a quick reign. But yeah, I did notice that he wasn't wearing the never openweight championship. I don't know if he forgot it, but that happens more often than not, than people know. Like, people losing titles and having to use other belts in place. So
I do remember there was one. I think it was a G1 block match in 2018 with, or maybe it was 2017. I can't remember, where Kenny Omega came out. He was the US champion at the time and didn't have the belt, and he made his entrance. He's in the corner waiting for his opponent to come out, and the camera's just sort of lingering on him. And then he turns to the camera and goes, I forgot the belt. Jesus Christ. They're going to be real mad at me. And I found that very funny. So just people losing and forgetting title belts. I don't know why. That just tickles me. But
I've heard more wrestlers complain about being a champion and having to lug around the fucking belt.
Imagine having to lug around one of those trophies, like the G1 trophy or the Best of Super Juniors trophy. That must be even worse.
I'm sure that, like, in those cases, like, he's just dropping it off in the back, and then they have a crew and they put it in a box and blah blah blah. But like the titles, like, I forget where I heard. It might have been Crockett Promotions. It might have been, but they would have two belts, like just in case. Like they would have a belt that, the guy who was the champion had, and then they had one as a backup just in case, if somebody gets drunk at a fucking bar and leaves it there. Didn't Jericho do that? Or he left it in an Applebee's or some shit like that? The AEW title, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
So it happens all the time. That was
It's part of the law.
Yeah.
It's part of the history and the prestige.
Yes. Got to lose.
All right, let's talk about the sorry to move us on, but the semi-finals of the G1 Climax. There was the Ospreay. Actually, let me get it up so I can get the timing of this, because I want to talk about the Ospreay Naito match, which I thought that was like a big protected match. I thought they were holding on to that one, so I was surprised they gave it away for a semi-final on 24 hours notice with very little build, and that it did such a shitty number in the building, to be honest. But the match itself, 20 minutes, 23 seconds, like one of the best 20-minute matches I've ever seen. Like, it was just balls to the wall action. And, Naito, I don't know what the future holds for Naito. We've got questions on this, actually. Mark says, where does Naito go from here? Jarro Burt says, where does Naito go from here? They told the story of this possibly being his final chance to main event Wrestle Kingdom, and with them eliminating the two-night format, it's hard to see him making it any other way. What did you think of Naito versus Ospreay? And another question here, Mikey says, what's Naito doing at Wrestle Kingdom? Could you both please come up with something cool? I'm still pretty bummed. So, yeah, Damon, please talk to us a little bit about the match and what you think the future holds for Naito.
Love the match. Was generally surprised that Will went over. And here's the thing. I don't know of another, aside from Kenny Omega questions that we used to constantly get, I don't know of another question that we get more than over the years of what's going on with Naito? What are they going to do with Naito? That's because I don't know of a guy as popular as him that does seem to get the short end of the stick. The guy has had multiple heavyweight championship reigns that have been uneventful. Snake bit.
Well, the second one was. I mean, here's the thing: with the first one, but sort of between the Wrestle Kingdom 12 and Wrestle Kingdom 14 periods, you knew. I think there was faith that he would get that moment. It was just when it was going to be. But now he's already had that big moment in that reign. But the Naito fans, myself included, would love to see him get another one, just because the way COVID sort of fucked the first one. That there is enough realistic tension there where I don't know if this is something they're just teasing Naito fans and going to try and drag that out and actually deliver another big moment for him.
But are people going to care?
Or if he's just done as a tippy top guy now. Are they looking at him thinking, he's sliding into the Tanahashi role or the Goto role or whatever, where he's not going to be winning any more big titles? So I think now that there's genuine doubt about that makes it even more interesting, and it makes me want to cheer for him even more. Actually,
yeah, okay. I mean, I worry about the opposite happening though, in the sense of, okay, he turns into Goto, and it's just like people just like, okay, I like the guy, but he ain't winning, right? And nobody wants that. I still think he has another reign in him. I do. I mean, health concerns aside, right? I think he has another reign in him.
I think, just to jump in, his wonky knees added a little frisson of danger and excitement to that Ospreay match, where, when it's Ospreay and Okada, everything's going to be executed flawlessly. But when it's Ospreay, Naito, and I think Naito's one of the best wrestlers on the planet, but you never know, when he's going for those big sequences, you think, one of his knees going to buckle? Is it all going to fall apart here? And that sort of sense of danger sort of added to the match for me. I think that's what made it more compelling.
I think it's a lot of his matches and just his style and the way that he works in a ring. Like it does feel different. I thought I heard, but maybe it was Ospreay who said it. Just he's so different in the way that he moves, and it's true. I don't think. I just can't imagine them having such a valuable piece and not being able to fully deliver on it. I just feel like that's a big waste. in the same breath, again, how many times can you go to the well with him? I don't know. I think he's got another one in him, though. I really do. I mean, not for nothing. We were talking about him winning G1 and going on to fucking Wrestle Kingdom this year. And I don't even think that's off the table. Trust me. I want to be surprised if one fucking show he walks out there with a microphone and says, hey, by the way, it's now a triple threat and I'm in it. Oh, yay. You know what I mean? That's...
He's adding in an extra half night of Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
At midnight on January 4th. Right. Just sort of halfway between Wrestle Kingdom and New Year Dash.
Yeah.
It's going to be Wrestle Kingdom night 1.5.
Right. They'll have it at Lawson's. Between
TGI Fridays.
That's a big TGI Fridays. They get people there. And I also am very excited by the idea of New Year Dash. Like, that's always a fun show. You never know what you're going to get. It is a hodgepodge of shit. And, you know, some years you get some really cool angles. Other years, all right, you're kind of waiting for that angle, and it doesn't really come to pass. But I think this year might be one of the more crazy New Year Dashes in recent memory. If from what we hear, AEW's involvement in Wrestle Kingdom.
You want an early prediction for New Year Dash? How about the newly crowned Kazuchika Okada getting challenged by Shota Umino?
Ooh.
In a parallel of the post Wrestle Kingdom 6 Tanahashi Okada Rainmaker shot.
Wow, look at you. Okay. That'd be fun. I'll be down for that. I don't think anybody would complain with that at all. Nice. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. That's a good call with one show. Very good call, and Dash being back.
So the other semi-final was Okada defeating Tama Tonga, 90 minutes, 8 seconds. So let's talk a bit about Tama Tonga now that the book is closed on this G1 and his ascent. Again, he's another guy whose promos have been fucking tremendous. I don't know if you saw the one he had after he beat Jay White, which very sort of quiet, underspoken, subtle promo where he was basically thanking Jay White for pushing him off the cliff so that he could fly. And again, I said on Twitter, there was something very Jake Roberts about it. And he has just come on leaps and bounds. I thought he had a tremendous G1. I was surprised but not stunned that he beat Jay White because, well, I think that it made sense for the story. And obviously we're going to see him getting his title shot at some point. Fans love him. I think he is a runaway success for this singles babyface push he's getting. Aaron Mather says, will we ever see Tama Tonga in a G1 final? I mean, I don't know if I would go that far. I wouldn't rule it out, actually, because I just want to see what the ceiling is on this Tama Tonga babyface singles run when we get proper crowds, because I want to hear how much do these fans actually love this guy.
Yeah, he was a pleasant surprise. I don't know if I was in love with the Okada match. I don't know if I was in love with that. But I think overall he's had a real good G1. I think he was a pleasant surprise. I'm not going to go so far as to be like, he deserves to be in a final. I don't know if I'm going that far. But he was fine. He was good. But there were lots of other guys.
Is a good spot for him.
Yeah, there was lots of other guys that I thought had better G1s. But yeah, I think he came through when he had to come through. He came, you know what the fuck I'm trying to say. Mush your mouth over
here. A few other guys I want to touch on. Juice Robinson. I felt he was kind of jobbed out in this tournament. He, came back with this big heel thing and won the US title, and I thought, wow, he's getting a big push. And he ended up, I think, with only 4 points in the block, I want to say, and he just does not feel like a serious threat anymore. Antonio, again, he says, who had this idea that new Bullet Club Juice Robinson was Gedo or Dick Togo? Could you guys give the scoop? I wish we knew stuff like that. Do you think these guys are telling us who's coming up with these creative ideas? But yeah, I'm also enjoying the gimmick. I think Rock Hard Juice Robinson is very entertaining. I'm enjoying the promos. I'm enjoying the character work that he's doing. But I'm just very surprised. It feels like he sort of pissed someone off backstage for the way that he's been booked so far.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Like, truth be told, I'm not a huge fan of just the excessive cursing. Just come on. And that's coming from me, right? G1, point-wise, obviously disappointing. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of effort put into that turn, it felt like. And then, I don't know, it's like they forgot about it. And, the biggest thing that he's done so far is, grand larceny, stealing a belt. Okay. It's hard for me to get excited about that. Like there's really been nothing for me to get excited or anyone to get excited with. He feels like talk about a guy who feels like he's lost in the shuffle. Like, I mean, he's lost, and now he's in Bullet Club with 500 other members. Like he's prime time. Get lost in the shuffle. I'm sorry, that's where he is right now.
A couple of other guys I want to touch on. Briefly, Evil. So Aramitha says, I've really enjoyed House of Torture and Evil this G1, but do you agree Evil no longer feels like a threat to win the G1 or the top belt? So I think he's been very entertaining, and sort of House of Torture, I've been talking about it on length. I think they've slid into a sweet spot. But one, do you agree? And two, do you think that is a problem in as much as he sort of lost credibility as a threat? Does he need to be a guy who occasionally needs to get a big win or win a tournament or get to a tournament final or get a title shot so that he can sort of remind fans, no, this is a guy who is a threat in this division?
I mean, let's be honest. Was he really ever? Like everybody was up in arms.
This is a former double champion, David.
I understand. And everybody was like, why him? Like, why him? That was the biggest problem.
He needs another run. He needs a second reign, David.
You think so?
People have forgotten.
No, we don't need that. Look, what are our biggest concerns were House of Torture being high up in the card and having the bullshit just take away from sweet spots on their shows. It's nothing more, nothing less. I don't
and he's been so good that we've lurched in the other direction, and now people are demanding that he starts winning big matches.
Look, I'm still waiting for the Bullet Club stuff. Like that's where I see him fitting in with the Civil War stuff. So he'll be busy and he'll be front and center in that. He'll be a main cog in that wheel, but like a heavyweight title shot or even a reign? Nah, I hope not. I mean, nobody expected the first one, but I can't see that. They're fine where they are. We don't need it going any higher on the card.
Yeah, if it does play out like I have outlined earlier, where we do get the JY Evil feud sometime next year, I think that's where we can sort of take his character and his story to the next level, maybe start doing some interesting things with it. But for now, I'm happy. I think everyone is happy with where he and House of Torture are sitting. So let's not rock that boat.
Yeah.
Palm says, what was the average time it took Taichi to remove his pants each match? Historically, how does that line up? Does this foretell anything going forward? I just want to take this chance to throw some flowers at Taichi because I think he was and is low-key one of the best G1 performers in terms of sort of night after night, a guy you can rely on to go out there and have hard-hitting, high-effort performances and elevate people who are not as good as him to superior matches, having matches that are more than the sum of their parts. And he doesn't really get the love or the appreciation that I think he deserves.
I think it's fair. He's not going to win the block, though, right? Like he's not at that level,
no,
right? And he's in that middle ground, 500 guy in a tournament like that. That's fine. People have to do it. Yeah. Like he's not, I know I say it a lot, but like the idea of him being the same guy that he was 5 years ago, I mean, you're just not watching the product. That's the only thing I could say. You're not watching because he's been good for years now. He had a good G1. He had a good G1. I don't know if is he in your top 5? He's not in my top 5.
See, I don't know. I don't do the spreadsheets where I do sort of calculations of what the average star rating is. I don't do all that shit. I comfortably in the top 10.
Oh, what's that? That's too geeky for you?
You're fine. Yes, he's in my top 5. Fuck you.
It's Chad Joel all of a sudden here. Oh, nerds.
No, it's not. It's not that I think that's beneath me. I'm just too stupid to do that and lazy.
Me too. I don't know how to do Excel. I just think at it.
So I don't do star ratings. I can't count up that high.
That's a good point too. People
getting into fractions. I don't even know what fractions are. They frighten me.
Me too. Percentages frighten me. Percentages. Yeah. I don't like math at all.
Right. Next question. Bash says, who do you think did best from the newcomers in the G1? And what did you think of bad dude Tito and Royce Isaacs? Do you think they get into next year's tournament at all?
No.
And Frank says, who do you think made the most impact from the new G1 entrance? Has to be Jonah. He established himself as a monster who brings something different. What do you think the plans for Jonah will be? Also, shout out to Lance Archer and Filthy Tom. Both are over and we need more. So, yeah, Tito and Isaacs were fantastic in their roles as sort of the backup, the tag partner and the guy cheering them on in the corner. I don't think they will be in next year's tournament. But again, I've been saying it for months and months and months. Don't sleep on Royce Isaacs. I think he has got an interesting future ahead of him. In terms of the newcomers, Jonah definitely he got that moment and that win over Okada. But I think ELP, he's a guy that I thought made the most of his opportunity personally. And now he looks like he's feeling perfectly at home amongst the heavyweights, and I'm very excited to see what the next 12 months look like for ELP. So what about you? Who stood out the most to you for the newcomers?
Probably Hanare. Getting that big win over Tanahashi, that's a nice little feather in the cap. I thought he had a very good, I felt like this was a time where he established himself. I thought Lance Archer was really good. I know it's not a newbie, but
not a newcomer.
Sorry,
not the question asked, Damon.
Sorry, but I did like him. Filthy Tom was good. ELP
How
was
good were his promos? Very emotional. I wasn't expecting that from him.
No, me neither. Jonah, I thought did very well. I like that tag team. I think we'll see them in tag league. That's it for the new guys, right? Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. But I think
Finley. How do you think Finley did?
Okay, good, fine. Not bad. Nobody was bad. Solid. I think Hanare was my favorite of all of them, though.
Let's talk Lance Archer. Johnny says, do you think New Japan is trying to send a message to AEW talent that the grass might be greener on their side? Lance seems super happy with his run there. And I said on Twitter that block finally had with Okada, even though he lost, that felt to me like a sort of a celebration of Lance Archer. And like a clarion call to Tony Khan and the AEW locker room. Look, if you come over here and work this tournament, you're going to be a big deal. You're going to look like a star. You're going to get big wins. You're going to get big spots. And now I'm wondering if, Lance Archer wouldn't maybe be happier sticking around in Japan and working more New Japan days next year. And I think certainly the way they booked Lance Archer in this tournament can only be a good thing and sort of appealing to other AEW people who are considering making the trip for next year's tournament.
Yes. That being said, more eyeballs are going to be on him on AEW than New Japan. Even during G1. So yes, he will get treated well. He had been treated well. And anybody who decides to do the tournament is going to be treated well, I would think. Again, that being said, when people were leaving New Japan and going to AEW, one of the things we said was, one, they're in the States, and that is a big deal to be able to fly home and spend more time at home. Those tours that is a fucking commitment. Like to me, especially the older guys, like they got families and shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's their job, mind you, but you're away for a month. Joel, you know what that's like, going on vacation for a month.
No, it's the opposite for me. Being away from my podcast for a month, that was really difficult.
I know. I'm sure you were dreading it, all of it. Lance, I think if you asked him, he would go. And again, I'm speculating what he would think, but I think he would go. But if he had a choice, he would stay AEW, like as much as he could. It's just easier, you know. And again, easier, and if in the pro wrestling world, more eyeballs are going to be on him on TBS than on New Japan World.
How do you feel about the 4-block format now that we've reached the end of it?
I hope that they don't bring it back. I felt very disconnected from this tournament at certain points. Look, I felt very disconnected from it a lot. And it was weird in the sense that there was no momentum for these shows, and matches, and I don't know. I don't know. And again, we're saving bodies and we're saving injuries and all that stuff, but I kind of missed the idea of more matches and more matchups. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of this format. I think it was tough to get momentum. I think we were missing out on more matches, different opponents. And I hated the pacing of it. Not a fan of it.
I think it worked towards the end. I actually really enjoyed that final block night where we had the 2 D matches and the 2 C matches, the 2 B matches and the 2 A matches, where each had their little self-contained narrative. A bit like, if you watch an international football tournament, the way the sort of group stages wrap up with that. So again, I agree with you that the way it was disjointed and the uneven scheduling was a problem, and it felt more like watching, I don't know, like New Japan Cup shows rather than G1 shows. I think they could remedy that by just adding an extra guy to each block and having 32, like 4 blocks of 8 rather than 4 blocks of 7. So then you can have single block nights. You could have, an A block night where you're getting 4 block matches. And I think that would remedy a lot of the problems, because gun to my head, I suspect they're going to stick with it just because, they've got all these guys on their books, and this is what New Japan are doing now. It's just more content. But I think that might go some way to remedying a lot of the issues with the sort of disjointed scheduling of it. Let's talk about the guest hosting. So Lawrence, who, funny enough, was a guest host for the Super J-Cast last year, says, out of all of Kevin Kelly's guest commentators, which did you guys like best and why was it Jonah? Louis says there are a lot of guest English commentators this G1. Who was you guys' favourite? Would you like to see them back, if possible, during upcoming shows? So anyone stand out to you, Damon, for the guest commentary?
Jonah was good. I thought David Finlay was good. ELP,
I thought he was very, very good.
ELP is always good. Yep. I don't mind it when it's a 2-man booth. I don't like it if it's a 3-man booth. I'm not a fan of it. So I wouldn't want another person to join Chris and Kevin. But when needed, I think it's a good idea. I thought they did well. We had no Lanny Poffo moments that I can think of, so I think we did all right?
Yeah, I think, when they have those shows outside of Tokyo where Chris Chant's not able to make it due to his work commitments, I think, yeah, absolutely fine. And I like the variety of it. I like the fact that they had different people each night. Actually, I thought Lance Archer was really good.
That's another one.
Very, very different to the sort of in-ring persona that we're used to. Just, being a real sort of wrestler's insight into things, and very sort of softly spoken, surprisingly so. And I just enjoyed him. He was just really getting into some of the matches. He was getting into Great O'Connor, sort of chuckling at some of his spots. And yeah, it was very entertaining having Lance on commentary. So he's someone I would like to see back. Andrew says, who's most likely to lose their G1 spots next year? And Daryl says, the G1 rookies were some of the best about this year's tourney, so let's try to get some more first timers in next year. So who needs to retire from the G1 moving forward to make space?
Well,
so who is on the chopping block for you?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tomohiro Ishii. Wasn't there a lot of talk about him not being in this one, let alone the next one?
Yes, I think it was Joe Lanza had some insight on that before the tournament even started.
Yeah. So, and given his point production, I don't know. We'll see. Who else would I cut? Fale. Fale does not need to be in G1.
Fale, Yujiro,
Yep.
Yano. Easy cuts for me. It's not saying I think they will be gone, but that's who I cut straight off the bat.
Right. I'm totally okay not seeing Fale in there. Totally okay. That's it.
I guess it depends on the numbers, really. If we're going back down to 20, then there's some difficult decisions to be made in terms of that, and that would really be, again, no pun intended, elite. If we're getting just 20 guys, cutting it down, even if we're not bringing in outsiders, that would just be. And again, I quite like that for the G1, that being the cream of the crop. These are the 20 best wrestlers in the company / the world, and I hope we do go back to that format, but I do suspect we're keeping the 4 blocks going forward.
Yeah, keep in mind people got to lose too, though, right? People got to lose.
Yes, yeah.
So
that's true.
So you are going to get some bottom feeders in there, just so we can make the points work for the people who were getting to the finals.
And that's where Rock Hard Juice Robinson fits in. Aspia says, follow up, who do you think is most likely to gain a G1 spot next year, since the DJ is not an option now? So I don't know if you saw this Carl Fredericks thing. So again, this is Joe talking about this on Voice of Wrestling, that apparently Carl Fredericks was due to get a big re-debuting angle at Budokan Hall on these G1 final shows, where he was going to show up and get embroiled in a big long-term feud with House of Torture that would be paying off at the Tokyo Dome. And he's just fucked himself out of that by mouthing off on Twitter, which is sad. I mean, I don't take any joy in that. I think it's a big wasted opportunity, and that's something I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that went south, and I don't know. Like I said last week, I don't know who's to blame, or if there is a blame. But it does seem like on both ends, it's such a wasted opportunity. A wasted opportunity. Not everyone has it happen immediately. Sometimes it is a slow burn. I mean, not for nothing. Look at a guy like Hanare. Look at a guy like David Finlay. Look at a guy like Juice. Look at a guy, it's a slow burn. So you kind of feel like you knew what you're getting yourself into here, right? But maybe promises were made and promises weren't kept, and relationship communication sours, and then it goes to fucking right down the toilet. So it is. I'm not going to say who's right and who's wrong, because I don't know, but it does seem like a fucking wasted opportunity here.
In terms of new additions, just off the top of my head, Fred Rosser, I think, would be interesting. Some of those returning new young lions, we've got to eventually make space for guys like Shota Umino, Yota Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, Ren Narita as a guy who I think is on the verge of a return. Anyone else that you think you would like to include next year who thus has not been?
That are more New Japan centric, not counting.
Or outsiders? Anyone outsiders that you?
I think we will. Look, I think we've been saying it for a while now, and I think the Dome, AEW's involvement there, and even Ring of Honor stuff. I think there'll be more outsiders in the next year. I do.
Now that we've reached the end of the G1 and the G1 talk, let's have a quiet moment of reflection for all the friends of the show, Damon, who've come to terms with the hard truth, the difficult realization that maybe they actually don't like New Japan, the modern day iteration of New Japan, what it is in 2022, and should stop watching it and writing about it. I mean this with all sincerity. Like, life is too short to force yourself to do things that you don't want to do. And more importantly, I was right. So there. Okay, let's move on. Now, you're talking slow burns, Damon. Daryl has a question for you.
Oh.
How has that posh toaster you were bragging about been treating you? Are you satisfied with your purchase, or are you having some regrets? And there's a follow-up tweet to this with a toaster that I would like you to have a look at. So please have a look at that tweet and talk to us about your toaster to wrap up this week's episode.
I have no new updates on the toaster because we haven't used it yet. So we're still in kitchen remodel mode. And once that's done, we will be able to utilize and use said toaster. This is not the toaster that I have purchased. This Mitsubishi single slice wood grain. This is not. It looks nice. I don't know about the single slice though. That seems like I need two slots. You know what I mean? No, but it's sitting in a box. It has not been opened. We do have it in the house. Has not been used. But as soon as I do, I will. You know, I'm fucking it. Texting you.
I want a review. I want the podcast opening with you doing a live toast eating, talking to us about your brilliant new toaster.
I will absolutely do that. I can't wait. We're in the home stretch with the kitchen. The floors are down. I think Steve's coming over either later today or maybe tomorrow to move stuff back in, like the dishwasher and the stove. Oh, my Lord. How great. Finally have a kitchen. It sucks. But yeah, we'll see. All right. We're done, right? We're good?
We're good.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, wrap it up, shall you?
redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast. Throw some money our way. That money can go towards Editor Dan getting the tickets Royal Quest 2 that he so richly deserves. Discord link, you can send me a direct message on Twitter if you would like to join up with that. At Cobra Kawaii and prowrestlingtees.com/SuperJcast, one of our shirts. I was sharing some holiday photos of my time in England with my new students then. So I started school again, new class. One of them spotted the Super J-Cast t-shirt and said, "Oh, Mr. Joel, how come you've got a t-shirt with your name on it?" And I panicked. I was just like, went to the next photo. I was just like, fuck, I can't have this again. Because if they say Super J-Cast, what's that? And start Googling it, then I'm in trouble. So I was just like, a friend bought it for me for my birthday. Next, moving on.
All right, it's a joke. It's just a joke. Right.
It's like that Sopranos, you know, when Vito gets sent in the gay club dressed as the leather daddy. It's a joke. Right, it's just a joke. Come on.
Right.
There we go. A big thank you to Editor Dan. So you can find him on Twitter at LousyHero219. Subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. Other great shows. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at the Super J-Cast. Thank you everyone for listening, and goodbye.
When you bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive, you could save money, but it doesn't cover any terrible memories living rent-free in your head.
Hey, just wanted to remind you of that time your kicker missed the extra point and lost the game. Even though he'd literally never missed an extra point, he chose this playoff game to miss. Yeah, I just noticed you hadn't thought about that in a bit. Wouldn't want you to miss, thinking about it.
Sorry, we can't save you from that memory, but we could save you money bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Renters insurance and bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but your singing? Maybe keep that to yourself.